Hello, it's Dr. Cortex here, and you're listening to Raw Dogs, one of my favorite podcasts. So keep listening. Who knows what you'll find out?
Hey everybody, and welcome to Raw Dogs. This is Brad.
And I'm Tyler.
And we're here today to talk about video games. So, we're part of the Tokyo Beat Podcast Network. Amazing podcast network. Check out all the other shows there. And we're not just saying that because we're incredibly biased, but we are incredibly biased.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. We're part of Hair the Dogcast. Preamble stuff. We're just cool people. We're supposed to talk about Portal and Portal 2 again this week. Dylan has come down with a case of the itchy throats.
Yep, not good. I was sick on the day after the Super Bowl for like 4 days.
I was feeling incredibly unwell yesterday. I was on the couch almost all day thinking that me and Kratos were going to solve our problems.
Didn't happen for you.
I saw a hug today, so that was a big thing for him. But no, that game is going very well. 26 hours in, and I've got a roller coaster of emotions about that game. But I went from incredibly cold to really enjoying my time with it.
Yeah, once it finally opens up, you kind of hit your stride. I'll be interested to play it again for New Game Plus if they ever come out with that, because that's just the way to do it. I'm not going to grind all the way through it again with New Gear on a harder difficulty, because that game is surprisingly hard compared to the first one, I feel. Or maybe I was just rusty.
I don't know. I don't know. We'll have an episode where we discuss Ragnarok, but the combat has a lot of issues and a lot of depth, but it's very easy to just button mash, and I feel like it's poorly explained, but that's neither here nor now. Today on Raw Dogs, your favorite podcast about video games and beer and demo discs and cider, actually. I'm drinking a cider today. This is from Milk and Honey Ciders out of the Twin Cities and St. Joseph, Minnesota, to be precise. I actually never been to the cidery, but I used to be good friends with the owner of this when he was the sour brewer at Indeed Brewing. I don't know if Adam still works there or not. I haven't been back to the cities in a while, but he makes the best ciders around. And I had enough beer Friday, so
it is pretty good. I also had enough beer Friday, so I'm drinking a champagne. It's a High Life.
It's a champagne of beer.
It's a tall boy High Life.
And we're going to do an incredibly rare call out to an amazing new band called Well and Good. It's spelled Well plus Good. Their debut single just came out last night at midnight as of this recording, called Sweet Tooth, and friends of ours, very good music.
Yeah, I'm a little biased. Might be my favorite band ever. Is it because my brother plays the bass guitar?
That's only the reason I don't like the band. I've actually had to overcome that.
He's kind of a divisive topic. You either love him or hate him.
Yeah, I'm in the hate camp. Wow, what a guy. But no, check out Well plus Good on Spotify. Very awesome. But okay, so today, since Dylan wasn't able to talk about Portal and Portal 2, and also we've been meaning to get to an Elden Dogs for a while, but since Tyler hasn't beaten the Halig Tree and got past Millennia yet.
Well, I started playing Portal, and then I got sick, and then it was the Super Bowl, so that on top of work. Where do you find the time?
Where do you find the time? I'm
an adult man with many important business things to do.
We should just be retired and have enough money to not have to have jobs. That would be great. Go to patreon.com/HairTheDogcast. We're desperate here, folks. We want to play more video games. Please.
How many of these demo discs you got?
Take a look here. So what we're up to today, let me move that. What we're up to today is something I've been thinking about as a fun, weird series, and it's called Demo Disc Reviews.
You got quite a few here.
I am sitting on so many PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and Xbox 360 demo discs, full of demos, full of videos, and they're an important relic of video game history that I don't think gets a ton of love. Jakey's got a really good Pizza Hut demo disc video.
Yeah, I like that one.
And, otherwise, you don't hear a lot of talk about demo discs. And back in the day, you'd get a magazine and they'd give you a fucking demo disc.
That's still wild to me that I even had this. I don't know where all mine are, but I definitely had a few of these.
This is in my very old CD case with my regrettable CDs from the band Him. You'll also find...
Wait, is that a movie by Brad?
That is filmed by me. Yep, that's my first film from film school, as well as all of my burnt DVDs from Netflix history. But most importantly, my demo discs. Also, I found like my Xbox Live startup disc from the original Xbox.
Hell
and I was
yeah.
like, wow, you had to put a disc in and be confused. What's an IP address, Dad? I'm not helping you.
What a time to be alive.
You're not running an Ethernet cord from the computer room to your bedroom, Brad.
You know what? Tripping over that cord that ran through the hall every morning, those were the days. Those were the days.
Yep. I'm sorry. I am going to have a cord in this hallway most of the evenings. It's just something that we're doing in our lives now. And yeah, but demo discs, you'd get them sometimes with like your magazines, and we'll do someday like a more in-depth history of demo discs, but you get them with magazines. Sometimes you get them in games, so you get like a demo for a game in another game. Sometimes you even buy them for cheap, like the PlayStation Underground Jam Pack. Sometimes they get sent to you. Sometimes you get them for various reasons. I remember the Xbox 360 have the Final Fantasy 11 startup disc, so you'd actually still need to buy stuff, but this actually could start the game up for you. I forget all the ins and outs, but so it's a demo disc review. So what we're going to do is briefly talk about what's going to be on our demo disc today, which is from the official US PlayStation magazine. Number 25 is the disc. It is from October 1999.
I was in like first grade.
You were a wee lad.
I was a tiny little baby boy.
I was 11 years old and very innocent still.
This was right about the time I got glasses. 1999.
Could finally see the world as it really was.
Yeah, couldn't see shit.
A corrupt mess of political philosophies. But this came with Volume 3, Issue 1 of official U.S. PlayStation Magazine. Retail price $7.99 back in the day.
That's 1999 money. That's expensive.
We were prescription, and these were a more expensive magazine because you did get the demo disc. Man, I wish they still did this.
Yeah.
But also, I don't really have disc media, and I just download everything. It is cool, though. On the cover, we have Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage. And many games reviewed, many awesome things, little ads in here. But what we're going to do is go to the back where it says the demo disc section. At the very back, and it says what's on the disc, and it gives you a little heads up on what's happening. So first, we're going to have Metal Gear Solid VR Missions. This is a PlayStation 1 game that I have beaten. I used to own because my friends were into Metal Gear Solid, and I thought, ooh, this is Metal Gear Solid, and it's kind of Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear Light.
Do you know what this is?
No.
It's no story. It's all you'll see on the demo, but it's just gameplay challenges. This is just essentially like a bad DLC for Metal Gear Solid 1.
Dope. Love that. They put one of those out right before Phantom Pain, didn't they? It was free on PlayStation.
Ground Zeroes.
Yes.
Ground Zeroes.
Is it like that?
No. Ground Zeroes is way better than this.
Okay.
But what is Metal Gear Solid VR Missions? Solid Snake is back. Well, sort of. This is what it reads in the magazine. Think of this as a simulation of what secret agents do when there aren't any world-threatening villains around. This standalone disc features tons of VR missions to test your espionage mettle, but don't worry, it's pretty damn good. All right. Can you tell us a little bit about what Wipeout 3 is here, Tyler?
Yes, Wipeout 3. What is it? That's a word that's going to be tough to read. Psychosis? Yeah, right? Sure.
Signosis.
Dude, I'm so bad at reading. Signosis futuristic racer has always perfectly fused style and substance. The first two...
Good morning.
The first two titles are classics in their own right. Hopefully, the third is also a charm. What to expect... High-res graphics, 8 racing teams, 8 tracks, and 12 weapons. So essentially, you're racing around and shooting at people in little spaceships.
I like vehicle racing games. That looks fast-paced.
Yeah. I think I saw on the disc that Moto 3 is in here. And if that's the case, I'm going to be psyched.
So we do have Jet Moto 3. That is a single track, may have left the building, but the Jet Moto franchise lives on. So this is from a new developer. I'm concerned.
Yes, Jet Moto was so good.
Remembering Twisted Metal 3 proved that a series cannot thrive on fame recognition alone. Ooh, shots fired on Twisted Metal here. We also have NFL Extreme 2, 989 Studios, again attempts to meld football strategy with blitz-like action. We have Omega Boost. While playing Panzer Dragoons Vi, a Sony executive hit upon the perfect way to make the game even better. Add giant humanoid robots. Polyphony Digital, developers of Gran Turismo, were drafted for the cause, and the result is Omega Boost. It's cool that it's the developers of Gran Turismo. I don't know anything about Omega Boost, though.
Yeah, I've never even heard of it. Championship Motocross featuring Ricky Carmichael.
Ooh.
The famous Ricky Carmichael that I don't know.
I was going to say, he probably is famous to some people.
Yeah, famous enough to have his name on a demo disc.
And a whole game.
Yeah.
Probably.
Everyone loved Excite Bike, so why not relive the genre of dirt? Or why not revive? Fuck, it's the morning time.
Good morning, Tyler.
So why not revive the genre of dirt bike racing? THQ has done the dirty work for motocross fans everywhere. You get 9 customizable bikes, including Kawasaki KX Range. I don't know.
I wasn't on board until you said the KX Range.
I wasn't too sure.
Because that's a if you're into like Ricky Carmichael, you know about that.
Yeah, you're gonna want the Kawasaki KX Range, and I knew that by heart. I didn't just look at the page.
Yeah.
Also, 12 tracks. Get this, including motocross. Who would have thought that Championship Motocross would feature motocross?
So when you say 12 tracks, I was thinking it was going to be like featuring Offspring, but
and
no.
Hoobastank.
No, this is pre-Hoobastank era.
Yeah.
We're not crawling in the dark yet.
A game that two games that I remember playing. Toy Story 2. This is dope. It was really hard. Did you play this?
I have played this demo. As far as what I remember from this specific demo disc, I played the Toy Story 2 demo quite a bit.
Really?
It was pretty good. My memories from back in the day, I was also voracious about Buzz Lightyear at that point in my life. I could have been happy just probably playing a shitty game, but we'll see.
I played this. I think I actually owned this game because I was a big Toy Story fan. And this came out in conjunction with the second movie, I believe, the game. Mm-hmm. And then we have Bugs Bunny Lost in Time, another game that I remember playing.
How dare you you remember this game?
I do, yeah. Because I was a little boy, and my mom got me little kid games. And she saw Bugs Bunny and was like, yeah, that's Tyler. The first 3D Looney Tunes title, and it stars everyone's favorite Wascally Wabbit.
He is a wascal, isn't he?
How can I read Wascally Wabbit and then not pronounce normal words?
So it looks like a platformer. That was one that I was looking through all of my demo discs, and I'm like, Bugs Bunny sounds fun. There's one demo disc that had playing with Teletubbies, but there wasn't enough playable demos. There's only like 4 on that disc. I'm like, that's not enough.
Yeah.
But also on this disc, we have Pac-Man World. And we are going to go play all of these. We're going to take a break, go play them all, just so everyone knows. Like, this is happening. But we have Pac-Man World, where dozens of mascots are introduced to the gaming scene each year, and dozens of them die unmourned. Wow.
That got dark.
But 20 years ago, after Pac-Man fucking died, there appeared a pie-shaped yellow guy who remains an icon to this day. It's been a while, but the Pac-Man is finally returning to the gaming scene. This is the 3D reintroduction to Pac-Man.
Didn't they make this again on the GameCube?
Yes.
I owned that version.
I believe they made this into a TV series as well.
No one needed that. No one asked for that.
I don't know anyone whose favorite thing is Pac-Man. Pac-Man's I love playing at the arcade. The 4-player cabinet's great, but I don't know anyone who's like, fuck Sonic, man, Pac-Man. Like, no one says that.
No one's saying that.
Miss Pac-Man, though. They should have just called her Pac-Woman, to be honest, but...
Yeah. I've never thought about that.
She took his last gender.
Maybe that's how they do it in Pac-Man World, though.
Well, I've never been, so maybe. And then I believe we are just to the video section. There are videos for us to get a good sneak of what's coming, like Rugrats Studio Tour. The latest Rugrats game offers kart racing, outer space, and pirate adventures, and the ever-popular mini golf. Very excited about that.
Yeah, that would have been a game I was into.
Countdown Vampires. 10, 9, 8, 7 vampires. Like eventually once it counts all the way down, I guess vampires show up. A survival horror game from Bandai. Play as human or vampire, 37 different levels, Resident Evil style gameplay. This doesn't sound great. Be great.
Probably has that locked camera too, where you can't move it at all.
If it has tank controls, I'm out. And then many videos. We have Wu-Tang Shaolin style, the Wu-Tang fighting game.
What?
EA killed Thrill Kill, but the engine lives on in Wu-Tang. Violent 4-player battles and exclusive Wu music makes this one to watch.
Damn.
This could be a dorm rat's dream with a little tweaking. We got a few other videos over here.
Fighting Force 2. The first Fighting Force wasn't much to speak of. They're throwing shade at a bunch of different games in these little
Fighting
snippets.
Force 1 deserves to fucking die.
Yeah, it was kind of shitty, to be honest.
Speaking of things we hate, Pac-Man's dead.
The first Fighting Force wasn't much to speak of, but this is reworked the sequel from the ground up. This time the game plays more like Metal Gear Solid or Siphon Filter than Final Fight. Hopefully Core will use this engine for Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation. I've never heard of this game, but I guess I'm going to hear of it soon.
We had the original Fighting Force.
We got NHL FaceOff 2000. I actually owned this game too. This game was a lot of fun.
Yep.
It's a hockey game with all the trimmings, 150 animations, all the teams and players, strategies by Scotty Bowman and a bunch of other hockey players. We got Medal of Honor. Oh, shit. Medal of Honor. Damn, that came out in 1999. That series is that old?
That's the demo for it. So I don't know if it came out a year later or whatever, but this is just a video preview.
Yeah. The closest thing to Saving Private Ryan. The Steven Spielberg approved World War II sim looks hot. Covered action.
Dude, it looks so hot, dude.
We don't got Tom Hanks, but I swear to God.
Oh, man.
Covert action behind enemy lines, authentic World War II action, and
approved by 9 out of 10 WW2 veterans.
Yeah.
Like, this has got authentic action. Were you there? How do you know? Like,
it gave them PTSD, so yeah, it's approved.
I think it might have just been the graphics.
NBA Shootout 2000. My uncle played this game a lot. The latest basketball game from Sony. There are 300 new moves for 6 positions, 42 signature dunks. Design your own dunk. TV, flash, and presentation. So this was a 3D one. This is not the one where they had the giant heads, which I much preferred.
Yeah, you need giant head mode.
And then we got Hot Wheels Turbo Racing. Think of Codemasters Micro Machines titles in full 3D. 40 Hot Wheel cars, 12 tracks across 4 worlds. Crazy corkscrews, loops, mid-air stunts, licensed soundtrack. There really isn't a racer this extreme. I don't know. Have they played Jet Moto?
Well, I don't know.
They should play Jet Moto.
Everyone knows the first Jet Moto sucked, and we're not making a game like that. Well, so that's a preview of what we're going to go do. We're going to go have a beer and go play through this demo disc and watch these videos, and we'll be right back, literally, because it'll just be a little sound cue for you, but it's going to be us loving and hating some of this. So let's grab a beer and go play some games, Tyler.
Let's do it.
Hey everyone, we're back. We're discussing some of my other things in my CD case that's just sitting in front of us, including a lot of things I got from Netflix when they sent DVDs. I wouldn't watch them. I would put them in my CD burner and just burn them and send them back. And I also have a lot of fan edits because I was really into fan edits for a while.
I got really excited when I saw the Viva La Bands. I thought it was Viva La Bam, and I was like, what season is that? But still good music.
And then you grow up and you realize that Wild Boys was the real show the whole time.
Yes.
Wild Boys, fantastic show. Hey everyone, we played some demos. We booted up the disc. What happened when we turned the disc on, Tyler?
I had a rush of nostalgia that was probably similar to like a cocaine high.
Nice.
I've never done coke, so I don't know, but
It's good. I imagine.
So I was sick on Monday.
Okay.
Or Monday night, I started getting sick. Tuesday was the worst of it. So Tuesday, I didn't go to work. I stayed home, and I watched all 3 Lord of the Rings movies,
Okay, I
don't know why I said
wasn't sure
episodes.
where you were there.
I watched all 3 extended editions.
That's a journey.
Yeah, which is I think 2000 or 2001, 2002, 2003 they came out.
Yeah.
So I have been on top of this in the last week in like an early 2000s time bubble, and it's been great.
Yeah. You know when they say get off the road, when Frodo says that?
Yeah.
I actually have been in that exact path, and I got off the road and hit off the path. It's in Wellington. It's a walking trail. It's really cool.
That's awesome.
So we start up this beautiful demo disc, and we're treated to what looks like a high stakes action film.
I thought it was real life.
It looked so good. It didn't look at all like a bad PS1 game. It's a train and just this like hardcore music, which you're hearing. You just heard actually on the way in. I played that music. So it's a train getting chased by a hover car, and
for reasons,
the train opens up one of its cars, and there's missiles inside. On the side, it says "Official U.S. PlayStation Magazine," and that's when I realized it wasn't a feature film.
Yeah,
it was actually part of the demo disc.
I was waiting for Chris Pratt to pop out somewhere. That man is everywhere.
Chris Pratt was in this episode in one of the games briefly, but so then after this fucking banger song, which got very old after they played the exact same song in between every demo.
It's just the same, like it's the same couple chords repeated over and over.
Yeah. Which was very good the first time.
Yeah. 16th time around, not so much.
Not so much. I just want to get to Rugrats here, folks. Let's get to the meat and potatoes. But so then the demos are presented from the side view of this train, and you scroll left to right. We're greeted by each car featuring a demo, and we alternated back and forth, turns playing things. Tyler, what was your first choice?
I had to jump back into Jet Moto 3. Jet Moto 3 was actually the game I owned. That's the one I'm remembering.
You also owned Bugs Bunny.
I also owned Bugs Bunny.
But you purposely blocked that one out.
Yeah, and I think I owned Toy Story 2. But Jet Moto 3 was probably the game I played the most on the PlayStation, because I didn't play a whole bunch of PlayStation once I got my Nintendo 64. Then it was game over there.
Strange.
Yeah, I didn't have that many. I mean,
I guess it comes down to the games.
Yeah, and I had Mario 64. I had Mario Kart. I had War Gods.
No, I don't even know. I've never heard of War Gods.
War Gods is so fun.
Okay.
It's like a fighting game, but it's like really gruesome. And you play as like demonic creatures and stuff.
You don't see a lot of that in Nintendo games.
No, it was pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
It was rated M for mature, and my dad bought it for me anyway at the tender age of 6. And you could like rip people's heads off. It was awesome.
Your dad didn't give a fuck.
I think my dad bought a Nintendo 64 because my dad was a man in his mid-20s and just wanted to play video games.
You're okay. So your dad was in his mid-20s and bought a 64 for himself, and he says, "Here, Tyler, you play as well."
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Because I had a bedtime and he didn't. So once I went to bed, he would play that shit all the time.
When I have a son, he's going to get really tired of me calling him boy.
Yeah.
When he doesn't finish his food, he'll be like, "Do better."
Do better. And then you just ignore him for the next 2 days.
Yep. Hey, Dad. But Jet Moto 3, I didn't know it was not jet skis.
Water is a huge element in all the maps in Jet Moto 3. And there was, I played as the Mountain Dew guy. I think there was a Pepsi guy. They all had sponsors and shit. Like each of the characters, because you would be able to pick your character, and then you'd pick their hover jet ski craft, and then you just race around and you can hop and turbo and shit. And I admittedly was not doing too hot at the beginning, but then I almost won the demo race. I got beat by like 1/10 of a second because I ran into a fucking rock. And that was some bullshit.
I think one thing that we do have to mention with all of these is we have to rank the demo.
Oh, that's a good move.
As far as like what is given to you, is it enough of a tease? Is it a taste? Is it enough to get you wanting to play more? Sometimes demos overstay their welcome. Sometimes they're very generous, and you see such a big amount of the game that you want to see more. Jet Moto 3, they give you one pretty short race.
They give you one short race, and you're not allowed to pick your jet craft hover machine.
But
or your character.
Would you want to choose any other character or machine when you get to have the Mountain Dew jet motobike and the Mountain Dew jacket?
Well, I mean, that was like always like my close second pick, but I always went with like, I think it was the Pepsi guy. He had blue and black and he just looked sleek.
So what about this? No one chose the Sprite Boy?
I don't know if there was a Sprite Boy.
Hi, I'm Diet Mountain Dew sugar free. Please choose me. I'm number 10 on the list. No one gets this far usually.
Is that a High C sponsor? No.
It was a cross promotion.
I think this was an okay demo. I think it'll set the benchmark for me on what the good demos were and what the bad ones were.
The game looked good.
It was fun. The controls were a little wonky, but that's to be expected with PlayStation games.
I haven't played a old school PlayStation game in a long time. Because to me, it's like, oh, I'm playing the Crash Bandicoot Trilogy Remastered. These are PlayStation games to me. Those are not PlayStation games, though, because they look great.
Yeah.
A lot of these, they have, the Jaggies. They have that old school look to them.
It's like you're either not turning or it's like 100% 360.
Cameras plagued this generation of games.
Yeah. Oh my God, we are so spoiled with just having camera control.
Yeah. So Jet Moto 3, I thought looked good. I would be curious to play more. I think they also showed. I wouldn't mind if they gave one more race.
Yeah, that would be nice. There was this really cool course where it was like a sunken city.
Yeah.
And you were like racing around the crumbling buildings. And I think there was a cave at one point. It was like just a super gnarly track. That would have been a good one to put in there because I felt like showcased more of the game. The track we got, there wasn't a lot going on. There was a lot of walls that all looked the same. And it was hard to tell where you were going sometimes.
Some big jumps.
Yeah.
And they're hover bikes and jet skis at the same time. I see that there's grapple controls. I didn't see a lot of combat, though.
No, and I tried it while I was racing around, and I didn't even notice anything. Like, it didn't even look like he punched or anything. The hop and the turbo definitely worked, though. When I got that silly big air at the end of the race, that was a hop.
Well, this game is going to be available September 1999. Before the demo disc came out. Magazines are generally a month early, so I guess the game would have been available almost immediately. But that's good that the demo is available to go buy right afterwards. Jet Moto 3 was a pretty good game, it looked like.
Yeah, definitely one of the games I played the most on the PlayStation 1.
Yep, despite Single Track having left the building, perhaps Jet Moto can live on. And I don't know if it did. I don't know if there are other games after this. I didn't really look into it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to look into it.
I chose, up next, a very classic video game. Mm-hmm. This is a game that the controls are more like suggestions. It's like telling a cat to do something. Bugs is going to do what he wants. Bugs Bunny Lost in Time is a platformer. I like the voice acting in it. Bugs sounded good. Here I am. I'm reaching. But so in the opening of the game, you're greeted to the Stone Age. I guess this takes place in multiple time periods. There's also the 1930s and like Destination X or something.
Yeah, which is probably space or something.
Marvin the Martian was teased.
Yeah.
In one of the images. So very excited about that. But the first thing we do is go to the Stone Age, and Elmer Fudd is now a caveman.
And he's enlisted mercenaries to hunt you down that wear dragon eggshells on their heads.
And he says it's Wabbit season, and Bugs Bunny. He knows to get out of there then. But so the camera, this was bad. This is my first time playing a PlayStation 1 platform in a while, and I mean, we must remember that when this demo came out, the DualShock controller didn't even exist yet. This was just the D-pad. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. When did the DualShock come out? Can you look that up for me, Tyler?
Yeah.
The DualShock controller. But so the camera is controlled by L2 and R2, and it's inverted to the way that I would expect it to go. Bugs can jump. Bugs can kick. The kicking sound is quite nice.
August 27th, 1997.
Okay, the DualShock was around. You don't have an excuse. They didn't have it figured out, though, yet.
Yeah, because back then it had the little button that you could press that said analog that I, to this day, don't know what it did.
Yeah, there were multiple versions of that controller, and my experience is whenever I could turn the button on, it just made it so the controller wouldn't work with the game.
Yeah, it was the break this game button.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but the camera in this game is bad. The jumping seems like it was lagging quite a bit. You go explore the Stone Age level. The draw distance is fantastic. It looks like
You get at least like
it looks like
3
Skyrim
feet.
on an Atari. it's really good. But Bugs, you control him. You jump on the attacking cavemen. You try and kick them, and you can, but you can't because the controls are suggestions. You collect carrots. They're brontosauruses.
Yep.
You jump on.
And pterodactyls.
Yeah. This game is bad. Sometimes I think a demo will actually do less to convince you to buy a game. And this is one that even as a kid, I would be like, I don't know, Mom. I like video games, but this isn't fun.
Yeah, I don't think I played this one very often, but I definitely owned it.
Do you remember getting past the Stone Age?
No. I do not.
That's the first level of the game.
Yeah, I don't think I ever did.
Yeah. Very bad. Elmer Fudd, you can't even kill him. You bounce off of him. I didn't get too far. And overall, I think it's pretty bad. Oh, the OPM Psychic says, though, in this segment, it says, an enjoyable platformer that successfully captures the look and spirit of Looney Tunes cartoons. Their advice, it's easy to miss jumps if you don't adjust the camera properly. Watch your timing on the Brontosaurus heads. The first time you meet Elmer, jump on his head. So I give you a little strategy guide right in here. But, yep, you have 5 time periods. The Stone Age, medieval times. I'm guessing the time period and not the restaurant. It'd be funner. It'd be funner to go back in the restaurant.
Yeah.
Pirate years, which
That's a big window.
they might mean Somalia. Yeah, Yosemite Sam, Marvin the Martian, and yeah, don't play this game.
Run
away.
Yeah.
Tyler, what did you play?
Tail it
next?
out of there. I played another nostalgia game for me, another game that I owned, and that was Toy Story 2.
Wow.
The one thing that I forgot, or maybe they just didn't have it in the demo, is just the soulless, lifeless, no music soundtrack that is non-existent. There's no music. It is very boring. It's very hollow. All you can hear is Buzz's footsteps as he runs across Andy's room.
Yep.
And that's it. There's no other sound.
When I think of Toy Story, I just have these warm feelings of Randy Newman music.
Yeah.
And I hear Tom Hanks just like yelling that he hates Buzz.
Yeah.
All of these feelings. And Tim Allen. And nope. You are running around in this void. Enemies that are not too far away from you flash in and out of existence because they're past our draw distance, which it's like 5 feet sometimes.
You do have you can spin attack with your wings, and you have the laser on your arm, and you can go first person, which has the best part of the game.
It was pretty impressive.
The one thing the sound designer did that was correct is he put the very heavy breathing in, because you like go first person, so you're inside the visor.
It's like that Iron Man look almost of him. Yeah.
And you can see Buzz's reflection as he's like squinting, one eye closed, like trying to aim the laser, and just the most heavy breathing ever.
It is heavy breathing, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, toys don't even have lungs.
Yeah,
Can a toy be out of breath?
I mean, if he did have lungs, he was definitely out of breath, because I missed the first couple of jumps several times because the camera, unbeknownst to me, was controlled by R2 and L2.
Yeah. There's a fair amount of enemies in the game, which they're more of a hazard than something you actually have to fight because they're just mostly in the way. I believe that there are multiple Pizza Planet tokens in the demo.
Yep.
Because once you collect one, it says, all right, you're done. But I think the demo was actually quite generous because it says the level is Andy's room, and it's not
Yeah, I
Andy's room.
bet you I could have went downstairs, but I saw the doggy door, and I was like, surely they'll let me go through there.
I think there's a Pizza Planet token in the attic as well, because I remember back in the day playing this, and I feel like I went out of my way to play it multiple times to get the different tokens that were available in the house. This is Toy Story 2. You're not getting a lot of story other than Woody has been kidnapped by a toy collector, but they don't show that in the game.
In the final completed project, you would have 15 levels, and you get different gadgets. Helmet cam action. What does that mean?
I think that's what you were talking about, maybe.
Yeah, the heavy breathing and the reflection.
Dude, the action is hearing a bad voice actor breathe really heavy.
OPM Psychic says, the targeting system seems rather awkward. It was. You have to switch to first-person view. Once I discovered first-person view, I never went back to it.
Well, it's because it stops all action. And
Yeah.
you can't move in first-person view.
The level design and goals are intriguing. Hopefully, the later levels will capture more of the movie's character and feeling, because it was a very hollow play.
It's great when magazine writers have to play a big piece of shit and have to say, I hope the later levels can really hone in on what made this potentially fun. It's like, so what you're trying to say is you hated it and you hope that it gets better.
Yeah.
But they church it up real nice.
It almost makes me want to waste my time more. I think next you played what was probably the best demo on there, right?
Well, let me look at a little Toy Story 2 just for one more second. Our advice, the demo inexplicably ends every time you receive a single Pizza Planet token. There's 4 tokens to be found. The first is from a robot in the attic. You raced the car in the garage.
I raced the car. I dusted his ass, too. He didn't stand a chance.
He's horrible. The third is obtained by bringing 50 coins to Ham on the couch. The fourth is received by returning Bo Peep's 5 sheep to the kitchen table. So it's a pretty big demo. And there's 15 levels, and that was only one level.
Yeah. So that's a big
I can't
game.
imagine where else you'd really go. Like, you're going to go to Pizza Planet. You'll probably go to the toy collector's house. I thought it was okay, though. What did I play next? Omega Boost?
Yes, I think so.
Omega Boost was pretty cool. It was a good-looking game, surprisingly.
It looked pretty rad.
This is a mech fighter shooter game. You're in outer space piloting a mech, and the soundtrack is good. That's one thing that we noticed a lot of.
I gotta
these
find
games.
that song. I want that to be my ringtone so bad.
Every 10, 15 seconds, there's a guy that goes, oh, which
It was awesome.
I'll cut in right now. The gameplay took me a little bit to like click into to understand, but it looked good regardless.
Yeah.
It was very insistent on me scanning to holding to scan and remaining holding while I played, because it is very disorienting when you don't get to use 2 thumbsticks and you're trying to fly around in a 3D space in outer space. So
Games nowadays that have like space flight are difficult enough when I have 2 sticks. So I can't even imagine not being able to use both.
have you played Star Wars?
Yeah.
That fucking fighter game.
Yeah, what the fuck
Rogue,
is that called?
Rogue Squadron, Rogue
Yeah.
War, whatever.
Whatever.
That's the one that gets it the best. But this one, you're flying around outer space. You're attacking these whatevers that are flying around. Level 2, you get introduced to an enemy spaceship, and it turns into kind of a fixed camera, and you rotate around this ship, and you have to shoot at the various targets on there. You highlight what you're shooting at with your aiming reticle, but you also need to be holding the scan to like lock on.
And that's weird that they said, well, I guess scan makes sense. Never mind.
And then level 3, the boss battle, they received a health bar and essentially just flew back and forth with me. I never felt in danger of dying.
You never even really came close at all.
I don't even know if I got hit really, but the game looked cool. It's from Bandai, and Omega Boost was developed by Polyphony Digital, not Bandai. But there's 9 missions with insane enemies and bosses. Live action FMV story sequences. We didn't see that.
No.
And I want to see that. because live action acting in the PS1 era is
Gold.
choice. It is very choice. I saw someone do an interview with the actors for the Resident Evil 1 cutscene, which is like 30 seconds, and I said, people have too much time on their hands. Let them rest, find another hobby. But the advice for them is Omega Boost offers more freedom of movement than almost any 3D shooter to date. It can be a bit daunting. Normal movement has your ship gyrating around a central point on a track. It's as if you're always facing toward the inside of a hollow sphere. So it's interesting. I did rather enjoy this game, and I think if I understood the combat better, I would like it more.
It seemed cool.
The perfect amount of demo. 2 mini levels and a boss battle. That's what I want. I imagine the soundtrack gets better. I don't know if the
You're not going to be able to top that guy.
The vocals on Yodeling Man or whatever what he was up to would have gotten much better because it was very good. But yeah, I actually thought it was pretty good. What did you have next, Tyler?
I think I jumped into Pac-Man World. Right? That was next.
I think so.
Yeah. Surprised. It was not bad.
I like it.
It was fun. You run around in a 3D world, obviously, because it's Pac-Man World. And there's like these mini Pac-Man boards set up, essentially, that are 3D. So the camera will kind of shift to an overhead view real fast, and then you play a quick game of Pac-Man with the ghosts, and you can jump up crates and shit.
I like that it started off with a Pac-Man level, traditional one kind of, before it turned into the rest of the game.
Yeah, and then everything seemed really intuitive. I didn't have to use the hints because I'm a professional.
You're a pro gamer. You took one hint and you said, no thanks.
Not for me. There's a little bit of platforming going on. There's a little bit of combat. There was some like skeleton guys that I demolished.
Pac-Man famously hates the undead.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that about him.
Overall, this was maybe the most fun demo that I played because it wasn't too ambitious. It wasn't too overzealous. It was a pretty straightforward platformer arcade game.
Good music.
Yeah. And it didn't look half bad. Especially for a PlayStation 1 game, I thought it was one of the better looking games that we played.
This is a hard generation to balance your graphics to achieve a sense of like style and art while also not looking like hot shit.
Yeah.
Some of the videos we watched didn't look great. Pac-Man World, I like what it did with the Pac-Man formula. If you're going to reinvent Pac-Man, tough. No one wants that. So it's nothing anyone wanted.
Yeah.
You know that game that people loved in the 70s? What do we got? And
it looks like as the game goes on, you're going to get more and more difficult puzzles because I did have some switches I had to hit to open doors and move platforms and shit. So I think that probably got a little more difficult judging by the pictures I see here. It looks like I get a gigantic, what do they call it? Helevator?
The Helevator, which isn't an elevator to hell. It's just like a helicopter platform.
Although a Helevator to hell and Pac-Man would have been really dope.
Dude, Pac-Man goes to hell. I mean, I'm there for that.
OPM Psychic says skeptics may accuse Namco of milking a character, but the game plays surprisingly well.
No one milk Pac-Man, please. We don't know what's in him. I don't want to know. Nobody try and squeeze those nips.
That's the first product from Namco's U.S. development team. Is doubly exciting. Platforming fans should give it a look-see. Their advice is use the first level to familiarize yourself with the controls. Open every chest and pick up every piece of fruit for bonuses at the end of the level. The second level, there's a second level. I cut it off. Son of a bitch. The second level offers more of a challenge. Jump to the center of the spinning platforms and don't get bumped off the edge by the bumper cars. This was a super okay game.
We thought it was super good.
It was a game that I played.
It was playable, which is more than you can say about other things. Toy Story with music could have been good.
Toy Story, if you just put in just the hum of You Got a Friend in Me over everything.
Just like a dude like,
you're fucking A+.
I was trying to make a point of how bad that would be, but I was like, that actually sounds better than what they had.
Yeah. You don't even need Randy Newman. Just put the bass line.
And just so everybody knows, when you leave your house, your toys are all over everywhere, having races in your garage. There's robots in your attic, and hide your Pizza Planet tokens because those fuckers are going to use them as currency.
When I was a kid, I had about 1 million WWF action figures.
Oh, yeah, you had the little rings.
Oh, yeah. I had the rings. I had the walkout ramp and everything.
Yeah.
I was really into wrestling when I was a kid. But the action figures were great. Me and my brothers would like wrestle with them all the time, and I got really good at like controlling them with all of my fingers so they would like walk and shit.
And you were imagining that they would come to life.
Yes. Yeah. Every single time I left the house, I'd be like, hey, Brett, do you think that Justin Credible and Jeff Hardy are duking it out right now? And he'd be like, oh, man, I hope so. And then we get home and they would be in the same spot. And we're like, fuck. And then we got a dog.
And someone made Elf on the Shelf based on that entire premise you just said.
We got a dog at one point, and I'm pretty sure the dog would go like fuck around with the toys when we were gone and chew on them and shit. But they started moving, and for my brothers, they were like, "It's fucking happening! Oh my god, don't panic!" And I'm like, "No, it's Tucker. He chewed his leg off and carried him downstairs."
Or maybe he got attacked by the neighbor kid who's a Nazi.
Yeah, no, he totally rode down the railing on the stairs and fell off and broke his leg.
I just want to watch Small Soldiers now.
Oh my god! So me and my
Small Soldiers is a demo on one of these discs, I think, as well.
We got to get to it.
We do have to do that one eventually.
We play a game at my apartment when we get really drunk.
It's called Small Soldiers.
No, so
Major Chip Hazard reporting for duty.
You play old movie trailers. So when it's your turn, you have to play an old movie trailer, and then the more nostalgic, the better. And my brother played Small Soldiers the other day,
and he won.
Yeah, he won. That movie is so good. Kirsten Dunst is in that. They
licensed Led Zeppelin music, which was almost impossible to do. Led Zeppelin doesn't lend their music out to anyone back then.
Yep.
And Small Soldiers is just fucking rocking it.
Hell yeah.
It's a pretty intense indictment of capitalism and indoctrinating war culture in America.
What was the name of the good guys? The Gorgonites?
Yeah. I am Archer, emissary of the Gorgonites.
Who voiced Archer? I cannot remember.
Chris Pratt.
Because Tommy Lee Jones was the bad guy.
Major Chip Hazard
reporting for duty.
Yeah, that's great. And like those psycho Barbie dolls, they all want to have sex with the soldiers. I was like, well, I'm in a weird spot here as a kid. Kirsten Dunst, still pretty cool.
Yeah. So Pac-Man World.
We don't sell violent toys. This is a classic toy store. It's like, and Dennis O'Leary's like, kids like violence, but call it action. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Dennis Leary's in that, too.
And David Cross.
Yeah, I know that.
Yep.
David Cross is great.
We're going to hear from another amazing show on the Tokyo Beat Podcast Network and be right back.
And we're back with another great episode of...
Hold your horses, mister. This is a commercial for our show, Nasty Labs, not the actual show.
You mean to tell me this is a commercial for our bi-weekly show from Game Studio Chuhai Labs where we talk about games, game dev, Japan, and whatever else comes up?
Yep, and it stars me, Kinsey Burke. And also it has my junior co-host, Mark Lentz.
Sup, though?
So catch brand new episodes twice monthly for only 3 easy payments of $420.69.
That doesn't make sense.
Nasty Labs! Only on the Tokyo Beat Network.
Hey, everybody, we're back. And up next, I believe I played Championship Motocross featuring Ricky Carmichael. I didn't get to choose who I played as. I was not Dark Hughes, one of the guy who got first place in my race, but I was Ricky Carmichael. And this is pretty straightforward. This is why I like demo discs, because this made me realize that I never want to buy a motocross game like this. I had Motor Racer 4, I liked that a lot, or 3. But Championship Motocross, it is what it is. It's a PlayStation 1 game. What I did like is the analog stick would control the axis of the bike. And also, like, if you were like holding back on it a little bit, your guy was constantly in a wheelie. So you kind of always had to be controlling your sense of balance, like your center of balance on the bike. You could do cool tricks. Yeah. I found out only at the end you could do those tricks not in the air even. So I could do a Superman while I'm just riding the bike. Which I appreciate.
Honestly, would make you more aerodynamic. You probably would have won.
You called out that there was dirt on the bike?
That built up over the course of the race, which I thought was pretty cool.
I thought this was a fine game.
Yeah.
This. I love demos of racing games and motorcycle games and any sort of little sim games because I only need to play one level.
To know I don't want to play that game.
Well, and also I can get the idea of what a sports game is in just playing a level. So I don't need to necessarily buy, every single 2000 variation of this sports game, which there's every year you get, all right, this is the next one. But Ricky Carmichael's presence, wow, I was excited because he is, of course, riding the Kawasaki KX Ranger, as you said earlier, or whatever you said it was. But I don't know. Did you have any other thoughts on Ricky Carmichael?
He had a very rectangular torso. It was basically just a box, which was kind of silly.
This man had no curves.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 would not be interested.
No. It looked like a racing game. It looked like, a racing game.
It looked across the board like it was a racing game. The OPM Psychic said, the single track in this demo seems rather ordinary. But the game itself promises to be better. They didn't say that better part, but I just filled that in. Check out the review of this issue to see if it lives up to its potential. So they actually reviewed it the same issue that they're talking about how they hope it gets better, which means that probably didn't get better. But developed by Funcom. Yeah, there's no reason to go play this game. Unless you had it as a kid, Ricky Carmichael, you're going to get a hard pass from me, dog. I think up next... We had probably the most technically advanced gameplay in the demo.
Yeah, I went with Metal Gear Solid VR missions. So I like the Metal Gear games. I've played quite a few of them.
Which ones have you played?
Snake Eater was my first one. That's my favorite.
Okay.
Snake Eater was my first Kojima game ever.
Yeah.
Which, wow, what a good game. And then I played Phantom Pain, and I played...
No 4, though.
I played 4.
Okay.
4 was the first one where they made him older, correct?
Yep, that's old Snake.
Yep. I've played Snake Eater 4 and Phantom Pain.
Okay.
I do own the first 3 on the 360, I think it is, the remastered HD collection or whatever.
Yeah.
So I've played a little bit of the first Metal Gear, but I think at the time it was just too dated for me. I wasn't in the mood.
Are you talking about the Nintendo or are you talking about the PS1?
The PS1.
Okay, Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
Because there's a good GameCube version called Twin Snakes, which actually reintroduces like the first person mode.
Because Snake Eater's the third one.
Yep.
And it's Metal Gear Solid. And then what's the second one called? I always forget.
Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty.
Yes. So
that was my first one. I believe my first one that I played. I played Metal Gear Solid 1 as well. But I actually owned VR missions on the PS1. And
this game played surprisingly smooth for a PlayStation 1. I feel
incredibly technical.
Yeah. With a little more time, I probably would be into it and enjoy it a lot. It seemed pretty sick.
They give you a lot.
Yeah. I found it really intuitive, which is rare for a PlayStation game because
especially like a shooter with 20 weapon variations and isometric / like first person / it jumps all over in the different like modes of gameplay.
So I started with a weapons challenge mode where I was just shooting boxes and several different weapons and several different levels. Jesus Christ!
They had four different weapon challenges available in the demo as well as another mode. You got to use the SOCOM, the Nikita, the PSG-1, and the FAMAS. The PSG-1 is a sniper rifle one. Just the fact that they include in the sniper missions that any like little movement or if you move fast, like your gun shakes a lot. If you move slow, it like takes its time. The level and depth of gameplay that was in Metal Gear Solid 1 is ahead of its time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
If this is any indication for sure, because I did the versus 12 battle, which also, did you notice that first place was 45 seconds?
Oh, yeah. I think if you were to play that game for an hour, you'd get 45 seconds easy.
That seemed impossible because
But
I
we
got
also-
murked right away.
There's so much going on in the controls.
Yeah, and I did not take the time to read the the control screen that it gives you.
It's a pro gamer move.
Yeah, and it looks like gobbledygook in my brain.
Yeah.
I can't interpret that. It's just too much information at once. Speaking of too much information at once, I would read our advice section, but because this is such a technical game, it's a small novel. So I'll just read the last paragraph.
Well, actually, let's see.
Let's just jump in. If you played Metal Gear Solid, then you'll slip right into the VR missions.
Now, they're saying this because it is just the gameplay of Metal Gear Solid with no level design other than obstacles and no story.
No story. No, it's just challenges.
As you were saying.
First, avoid detection whenever possible. The guards outnumber you, and you will lose. Second, learn to crawl. Press your back against the wall, and
You were trying to change your weapon, and you crawled a bunch.
yeah, I had to be like a snake.
Yep. You were just crawling backwards. I'm like, just equip your gun. And you're just like, I'm a snake.
Yeah. I also had that guy coming at me, and I didn't want him to see me. Second, learn to crawl, press your back against the wall, and otherwise stay out of sight. If you go galloping around like an elephant, you will be seen. Third, your own weapon can harm you, so aim carefully and keep those missiles away from nearby walls. Fourth, no matter how close you are to a guard, if he hasn't heard you and you are not in his cone of vision, he cannot see you.
The cone of vision. The little map is very nice in those games. It lets you know where they can see.
Also, X button had like 47 different functions, right? Like breakneck.
I took a picture. It was a square button. And let me see here what it says. It says that it is... Use weapon / plus directional buttons, throw enemies / break neck. And also X is crouch / stand / crawl plus directional buttons.
Yeah.
And
so
here you brought up a good point. You get a demo and they're like, here's 30 buttons. And
memorize it right now.
It should just say in order of importance or something like that.
Surprise the enemies that can't see you. Fifth, guards are stupid and they have no memory. If they spot you, run around and stay out of sight until they get confused and forget you exist. Fifth, they said fifth twice.
Did they?
Yeah, there's a typo.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's as confusing as the game.
Yes.
When you start.
Fifth, ×2. Quickly de-equip and re-equip your weapon to reload.
Number 5 again.
Reloading during breaks in the action so you can keep firing when you need to. 6th, but actually 7th. Aim your shots when you have the time. Using the first-person mode, it is far more accurate that way. But most of all, number 7, actually 8. Practice. Badass spies aren't born in a day, you know.
This game gets very difficult.
I could definitely see that.
Because you were given, like, each weapon gets, like 10 different stages to practice on. In the demo, you get like 2 and 4. And they get to where it's like a small time frame or incredibly difficult. And you have to move fast and be mastering of the game. This is a example of a game that just requires mastering the gameplay, mastering all the mechanics of it. And the demo is very generous. I could see playing a lot of, repeating a lot of these levels because it gives you high score times for a demo. To have all of this, plus you go to advanced mode and they're like, how many different ways can you take down 12 guys in this little arena?
Yeah.
And you can just get better and better and just keep playing it. This is, I think, a demo that you could easily play for 10, 20 hours as a kid and just still get more out of it.
Yeah.
Because you get the full verb set almost of what Snake can do. You don't get all of the weapons, but you get an arena and tons of things you can do.
Yeah, and you can go about taking these guys out tactically. They give you plenty of cover to hide behind, plenty of weapons to play with. It's also cool because that versus 12 mode that I got my shit rocked on kind of reminded me, it reminded me of where we are now in games. Like Arkham City had that really badass mode where it was just like waves of enemies that you would fight.
Yeah.
And I wish more games would have that kind of arcadey side, like play style or game mode. I'm playing Hogwarts Legacy right now, and I find the combat to be really, really fun when you have a lot of different types of enemies you're fighting. And it would be cool to have just an arena to see how many trolls I can beat at once or how many dark wizards I can take out without getting hit. Like,
It's an easy extra to throw into a video game.
you don't really see it a lot anymore either. It kind of fell off.
Yeah, I wish it's opportunities for you to practice.
Yes.
And the fact that this was a video game that you paid money for, VR missions, is disappointing. I remember as a kid just thinking, oh, I'm another Metal Gear Solid game. And it wasn't another Metal Gear Solid game.
I would have been so bummed.
But it was fun. The next playable demo, because we found out there was one more. This demo was Wipeout 3. It's a fucking F-Zero style game. You move fast in a vehicle. It's kind of Mario Kart in that you get weapons, you get shields, and I thought it looked good. I thought it sounded good, and it was really bland.
Yes, very, very vanilla.
This was probably like a good showcase of what graphics could look like for the PS1. I was overall just kind of bored.
Yeah. I mean, it seemed very monotone, very flat. There wasn't a lot of, the sound design didn't especially like
Nothing
shine.
jumped. Nothing jumped.
The coolest thing was the perspective on the buildings changed pretty nicely as you took turns and got closer to them.
Yeah.
The perspective in the distance was, I found, kind of impressive for a PlayStation 1 game.
Ooh, for the demo, if you can successfully beat the record time of 1 minute 40 seconds, you'll unlock a faster racing circuit and a more advanced ship. Unlockables in a demo. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. They were very generous with demos back in the day. Nowadays, it's like, here's what the start screen's going to look like. You interested?
I forget what game it was. There was one game, I think it was Street Fighter or something, where you only were given in the demo the ability to play as like one, maybe two characters. But if you had a Game Shark, you all of a sudden could unlock every character with the Game Shark in the game, because they were just like built in as like the computer characters you might face against. And it was incidentally almost completely unlockable, the game, through the demo. So I think they were probably scared after that. But yeah, Wipeout 3. I'm sure if you played it back in the day, it's still good. I was mostly bored. But the Psychic says, the graphical flash is firmly in place. The analog control is sweet. If DJ Sasha can serve up those tunes to match, this racer will be once, twice, 3 times the winner. I don't know what you're talking about with your
Here in the
references
Midwest,
there.
we say a couple two tree.
A couple two tree. And as someone in Wisconsin, we do want to mention Wisconsin was just firmly, I don't know if it was elected. We were appointed, we were named, we were convicted. Decreed as the drunkest state in the country. Once again, everyone in Wisconsin said, "Argh."
When I saw that post, I thought of Starship Troopers, and I just turned to an invisible camera and was like, I'm doing my part. Are you?
3 beers, please. You're by yourself. 4 beers, please.
I went to Finks last night to celebrate my brother's single release for his band that we shouted out at the top of the episode, and I ordered 2 High Lifes the moment I walked in. And
That's what you do. You don't have to go again right
Yeah.
away. 12 ounces of beer is pretty small.
yeah, and I'm a grown man with need. I need my medicine.
I got issues, dog. We have one more playable demo here.
Which was kind of a surprise. I didn't expect to play NFL Extreme 2, but I did. I played as the Bills against the Denver Broncos at home in the snow, which I thought was pretty cool. I didn't expect snow to be in the demo.
Yeah.
Also, something that's in Madden that happens like 1 game out of the season, and it's shitty. So fuck you, EA. They did it better in 1999. The 989 Studios logo is very nostalgic for me. I didn't realize how many games I owned that was made by that company.
Also, probably half the demos in this episode.
Yeah.
989. It's either sports or studios.
So this is like a blitz style game where you can rough the passer, you can tear jerseys off, hit people with helmets, sort of thing. Their advice, because I'm a big football fan, so I didn't need it, but I probably should have read it because I did get beat 10-0.
You were so close to getting a touchdown before the quarter ended.
Once I figured out how to pass, that was a game changer.
That was big. Again, they give you a lot to look at when they show you that opening screen of.
And really, all I cared about was hitting people after.
And honestly,
the play.
it was like tackle / breakneck plus directional buttons, and you're like, okay,
this is too much. OPM Psychic says, if at first you don't succeed, concede. In this case, concede the market niche. I can never say that word. To NFL Blitz.
This was a good knockoff of NFL Blitz.
Yeah.
I thought it was fine. I like it when the players took their helmets off and they looked like monsters.
Yep.
And when I say that, they look like they were attempting to look like humans, but those faces were just like a Lego character with someone's face wrapped around it. And they said, "You can't catch me." And then you could just like rip their neck off with the character after the play. It was great.
I did try to decapitate that guy right before the playbook came
They
out.
cut away. They had to get a good rating.
I ripped that guy's jersey off on the first tackle. I thought that was pretty cool. Nice jersey physics.
Yeah.
Way to go.
It's not also a sim football game.
No, it's an arcade style for sure.
Because it wasn't ever 1st and 10. It was you get a first down at the 50-yard line
Yeah.
and then your end goal.
And I almost got that touchdown, son of a bitch.
It's nice that EA didn't own the rights to everything back then because we could have other games with the Buffalo Bills and the Denver Broncos and players whose faces were skinned off by a serial killer and wrapped around a Lego.
All the players kind of look like Dwight from The Office when he cuts the face off the CPR dummy.
That's horrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's true.
No leg drops, though, so Blitz gets the W in my book.
There might have been leg drops we just didn't see.
Yeah, maybe it was a different button combo. But I, as a child, if I would have played this demo disc, I would definitely wanted that game.
It's just, we laughed.
Yeah.
We were having fun because just what you were doing after the plays was great.
All I care about is the late hits. That's what makes it funny.
And as far as playable demos go,
I think that was the last one.
what are you going to give your favorite? Well, actually, wait. We'll save this until after we'll talk at the end of the episode.
Okay. So then we move to videos.
To non-playable demos, which are essentially you're watching a trailer
Yep.
and this has its own category of how you rank it. There's a fair amount of videos in here. The first one we watched was Rugrats, Studio Tour. And the trailer starts off with an acid flashback of intensely fast cuts of different Rugrats scenes, each about a half a second long. It was extremely disorienting.
Yes.
Tommy is wearing a pirate hat, Angelica is golfing.
Chucky's running through a tunnel.
Susie's on a beach, and it's like da 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 da. But with that beautiful Mark Mothersbaugh, like ba 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 ba.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Boop, boop, boop.
That was my favorite cartoon as a kid, and I did not realize how much I missed that sound.
It's great. It's great. This game, it looks like it's got a variety of gameplay modes. The golfing looks
Comprehensive.
It looks good. I didn't get to play it because this is, of course, a video, but I thought it looked like a good golfing game. There's kart racing, which didn't look good. And there's also like exploring a beach game. I don't know. It was mostly nostalgic to see this again. The video critic, instead of a psychic, they have a video critic. Rapid fire MTV style cuts jar with the game's cutesy look. I'm glad that they call it out in the magazine.
Yeah.
They're like, someone made a bad call here. If this game is anything like the video, Pikachu may have some competition in the Let's Make a Seizure game.
They said that?
They say thumbs down.
It was a bad trailer. It was
a horrible trailer.
Yeah, it was not good. I bet you the game is probably pretty solid. If anything, the golf looks revolutionary.
It looked acceptable. This would be one of those games that your parents would buy you. And
Oh,
you would wind up liking some aspect of it and play it with your friends quite a bit.
Yeah. I'm never a big fan of like these they call it a studio tour game. I don't like the a la carte games where it doesn't have like a purpose. It's like, hey, look at all these different game modes you can try out in the Rugrats universe. Like, no, fuck you. Give me Tommy. Give me my screwdriver. Put me in, like, let me save Reptar or something. Give me a story.
And you were saying when we were playing this that Tommy Pickles is actually a lot like Doctor Who.
Yes.
And I said, that's dumb. And you're like, well, he's a screwdriver that gets him out of every situation. I said, fuck you, Tyler.
He's got a
That's
Sonic.
really smart.
There's some other draws too. Also, I had a just horrible realization probably about a month ago. I think I'm the same age as Stu.
No, that's not a horrible realization. That's you realizing that the adults are actually very relatable.
I just like that.
It's fake.
Taking the adult from my childhood favorite TV show and now realizing that I am that old, that is the closest I've ever come to an existential crisis.
It's the meme that everyone remembers, or at least that I remember in my heart, is Stu sitting up late, or not sitting up. He's just like 2 a.m, and she's like, "Stu, what are you doing?" Because Dee Dee comes out, and Stu says, "I'm making pudding at 2 a.m. because I've lost control of my life."
Yeah, that's relatable.
It's like, oh no. We were the adults the whole time.
Yeah.
Eventually. And then eventually we'll turn into grandpa. Probably at some point we'll turn into grandpas who would just, at least one of them I relate with. The extremely Jewish grandparents that Tommy has on his mom's side.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about them.
Yep. They're cool too. We never get to meet Grandpa Pickles' wife.
No. Did you ever watch Rugrats All Grown Up?
No.
It came out right around the time I was like, I'm too big for cartoons.
Well, also it was, the Rugrats are babies.
Yeah.
Let's just accept that.
I always thought it would be cool to see what they would be like grown up, but then All Grown Up to them was like 13 years old.
Well, if you remember, Tommy Pickles, his dad tried to fix the duck at one point, and he turned into a baby. So we saw an adult as a baby.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the baby's grown up, but it was the grown up as a baby, and I prefer it that way.
Yeah, I'll take that every time.
What is it, like Baby Stewie?
Yeah. And then they have Stewie. Or Stu.
Because he makes the weather duck. Oh, okay. I like Rugrats a lot.
Yeah, Rugrats is great.
Rapid fire trivia. What is the name of Chucky's pet that Tommy accidentally lets pass away?
Oh, fuck, I don't remember.
Melville.
I would have never gotten
His
that.
pet bug, Melville.
Oh, no shit.
He was horrified. We have a very good trailer for the next game. It's called Countdown Vampires.
This trailer fucking rocked.
And we're going to do the not common thing where I'm just going to let the trailer play in almost its entirety right now. Enjoy it.
Countdown Vampires. It's the last night of 1999. Vampires are invading Las Vegas. These heroes are out to protect the city. But it's gonna take more than wooden stakes to stop these blood-sucking beasts. Countdown Vampires.
A survival horror game. This is about a guy who doesn't wear a shirt and has a lot of tribal tattoos, and he has a gun.
They basically took what 6-year-old Tyler thought was peak male performance and just made that a character.
Yep. You knew that this character had a girlfriend.
Oh, yeah. Dude, he's kissed so many babes.
He's probably so cool he doesn't want a girlfriend.
Dude, he doesn't
Which is
need one, man.
Level 10 or something.
Yeah, he's had so many girlfriends, he's past that.
So it's the last night in 1999. And you can...
Of course, it's in Las Vegas, though. We got to go to Sin City for this.
It is in Vegas. Zack Snyder, I think, definitely copied a lot of his zombie movie after this game.
Yes.
Yep. You can either play as a human or a vampire.
Which is intriguing.
Except it doesn't look like there's vampire gameplay. It just looks like you're still going to be a person with a gun.
Yeah.
They didn't show what vampire gameplay looked like.
Well, they said play as a vampire, and then they showed like 5 vampires with wings.
I thought those were just the enemies.
Yeah. And it's like, what's the point of view there?
What
Whose perspective are we looking at?
This has got the dumbest title of any game ever made.
Countdown Vampires.
Countdown Vampires.
What's that game that you showed me that you and Dylan were playing? The kind of the vampire game that you were addicted to that's super simple?
Vampire Survivor.
Okay.
Yep.
That's what I was trying to think of the name of that this entire time.
Yeah, they call out in this game, they say it's a Resident Evil style game, and they say mind-numbing action, and it just cuts to a person shooting a gun at a vampire, and very much that Resident Evil style gameplay. I did pull up on Wikipedia Countdown Vampires. Now, the reception is bad. It received unfavorable reviews. EGM gave it 4 out of 10. Famitsu 30 out of 40. GameSpot gave it a 3.3.
30 out of 40? What kind of scale is
PlayStation,
that?
the official magazine, gave it 1 stars, which is different than the official U.S. PlayStation magazine, which gave it 1.5 stars. The magazine that this is featured on. The critic says the CG does look pretty good. And the gameplay, while early, looks like it will be fine. Lots of zombies. I mean vampires. That's what it says in there. If you can overlook the apparently derivative gameplay, which is just Resident Evil, you'll probably be interested. I wonder why they didn't license Buffy. Tentative thumbs up. So I think the best thing of this game is the title and probably the memes. In retrospect, looking back and seeing a guy covered in tribal tattoos in a game called Countdown Vampires is the stuff that I like as a podcaster, because that is things that is fun to talk about.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't the only character they showed. They showed also the girl wearing red with the comically large breasts.
Yes. They didn't know how to make breasts back in the day either.
No, she's just got 2 giant balloons.
Yep. They said, put a Pac-Man on it.
Yep. So you throw 2 Pac-Man in there.
Throw a couple of Pac-Mans.
And then there was a third guy that looked
Don't
like...
milk your Pac-Man.
What was the fucking villain from Resident Evil? I'm blanking.
Which one?
The Wesker.
Yeah,
There's
Albert.
the Wesker look-alike in this game.
Check out our episodes on Wesker. They're bangers.
Is it on the board there?
They have a Patreon exclusive, which is the Life and Times of Albert Wesker, and it's very good. Check out our Patreon; it's worth it. But the Rim City Police homicide detective Keith J. Snyder had a problem involved with his previous partner Wesley Simmons, so he was assigned as a disciplinary measure to be a bodyguard for several VIPs who were key to the inauguration of a new horror-themed casino, the Desert Moon. This is the plot. Okay. The problems began when a fire broke out and mysterious black liquid started to pour out of the fire sprinklers, turning the vast majority of the people into vampires that proceeded to devour the remaining survivors.
All right, you had me up until that.
Wow, the plot is intense. If the game is cleared within 8 hours, a special story mode is unlocked, which shows an altered version of the original story and includes additional characters. There's mini games. Game characters appear as enemies, such as Mira, Shek, and the Man in Black. So it's also an X-Files ripoff. There's werewolves. There's insects. I would watch somebody beat this game in a YouTube video. I never want to play it.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Although, child me would have been like, Mom, please. He's got a gun and tribal tattoos.
He's got a lot of tattoos on his arms. Does he wrap around?
Buy it for me, Mom. She's got 2 big Pac-Mans.
I think he might be Native American because he's got a lot of tribal stuff. We don't know, though. He's very white. He's white with a mullet, but he might have been a tribe at some point. We don't know.
This definitely would have been a game that my dad would have bought me, and then I would have been too dumb to play or got frustrated with it and never touched it again.
And you're like, can I just play Bugs Bunny again?
Yeah. Give me the Rugrats game, please.
That Wascally Tyler. Up next, we watched Wu-Tang Shaolin Style.
I think this is the best trailer.
This won best soundtrack for sure.
Yeah, just straight up gameplay over Wu-Tang.
I don't know about the gameplay. It looked fine. At one point, these horrible isometric PS1 characters punched the head off of another one.
I'm there for it.
And I'm about that.
Yeah.
I'm about that. But I didn't even pay attention to the gameplay because it just said Wu-Tang.
Was it made by THQ?
Music just banging.
Activision. I wonder if Activision made... Remember State of Emergency for the PlayStation 2?
Yeah.
That's what this game reminded me of.
Okay.
Like the way that the bodies were dismembered and the blood worked. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah. It's just a layup. It's got Wu-Tang, so you're going to at least have Wu-Tang on a game, so that's good. I know that they're not the first band or like musician to license a video game, but the character models don't look great. It doesn't matter. It's Shaolin style Wu-Tang video game. You can't.
Speaking as someone who, in my top 10 favorite games of all time, is Def Jam Fight for New York, I definitely would have been into this.
50 Cent Blood in the Sand is for me.
Oh, yeah.
Although I've only played an hour's worth, but it was, thanks again, Stoy, for listening. Fucking awesome. I played 50 Cent Blood in the Sand for 1 hour and I won a copy of Elden Ring. Best night of my life.
That's a win-win.
And I got married.
Sorry, Carly.
Up next, we have Fighting Force 2. Horrible fucking trailer.
Yeah. Gameplay looked boring as fuck. Also,
but Hawk Manson is back.
and he's not fighting anymore. He picked up the guns.
Well, imagine something you don't care about, and they said, Hawk Manson is back. And you said, who the fuck is Hawk Manson? I wasn't waiting. I played Fighting Force 1 back in the day, and to me it was a brawler. I didn't know it was a shooter. This looks like a shooting game, and it looks like something I'm not interested in.
Yeah, it looked really bad. Also, Hawk Manson, I'm sorry, that sounds like something an intern with an fucking Mad Lib came up with.
This
need a hero name. What you got?
This is Eagle Mbop.
This game looked terrible.
That's not a bad name. I'd be Eagle Mbop. That's okay. It didn't look good. I don't have much else to say about it other than, wow, the first one seemed better. The video critic says, cool bass riff, nice explosions.
That did have some nice crunchy metal music that got really old really fast.
Yeah. I will say, though, I think the best trailer is coming up. It's not the next one, though, but the next one is good. NHL FaceOff 2000.
I owned this game. I played it a lot. It was fantastic.
Trailer was fine. They seemed to hype up new animations. They seemed to hype up. We got announcers.
Yeah, they were really leaning into the presentation aspect of it with an actual NHL announcer and then the in-studio play caller. So that was cool. And it wasn't like Blitz where you could like fuck people up, but you could also like kind of hit stick people in this game and knock the puck loose. It was actually a really fun hockey game.
Hockey games, I've played a fair amount actually. Hockey games are great. And they're easy to understand.
Yep.
They generally translate very well to whatever gameplay you're being presented with, like the angle of the camera. I always can very quickly jump into a hockey game, which I can't do with a lot of sports games.
Hockey and FIFA definitely, I think, translate the best.
And this is also a game where I think even at the PS1, it's really perfected. You can add more gameplay elements. Like if you wanted to add like angle of shots, like slow motion, like where you're aiming the puck, that's additive, sure, but I don't need it. And this is a very much a pick up and play sports game. I thought it looked fine. I thought it was a pretty good trailer.
Yep, I played it a lot against my brothers. The only problem is I never really had much competition because they were children, little tiny babies, and I beat the shit out of them every time.
And you still suck if you're listening.
Yeah, suck it, Justin.
Good song to Marcus and Devin. The next trailer was my favorite one we watched.
I did not expect to like this trailer as much as I did. But
Medal of Honor 1, the first Medal of Honor game.
Yeah, which would essentially lead to Call of Duty because Call of Duty was like, hey, we like that, let's do that.
This was creative. You don't expect creative, fun trailers. You don't. They opened up with like a propaganda movie for common German phrases that Americans might need to learn.
Yeah, and I knew the first one. I translated it. That was pretty impressive. I've been doing Duolingo, so that was awesome.
What was the first one?
It was Your Papers, Please.
Your Papers, Please.
But I can't say it, but I can read it.
And then they opened up with, careful, that American has a bazooka.
Yep.
And it said something about the American has dog biscuits, and then they cut to a dog attacking you. It was very funny.
It kind of gave me like Fallout 4 vibes, you know, with like the Pit Boy, like going through like the kind of silly scenarios, like Wastelanders tips sort of thing.
Because if there's anything that I like to make light of, it's World War II.
Yeah.
Sorry. But this was a great trailer. And World War II was just such a video game atmosphere to modern gamers. To people that were there, it was the most traumatic, horrifying, life-affirming, destroying experience. But to us, it's just, grenades are fun.
Yeah, potato masher. Remember that?
No.
Yeah.
What's that from?
Call of Duty, World at War.
I played a lot of Call of Duty games. I don't remember them all, though. I'll play through a campaign and then immediately just, like, file it away into the Call of Duty file, which I don't need to look at often.
No, I played a lot of multiplayer. I threw a lot of potato mashers in my day. You know why they call them that? The German grenades? They looked like they had the big stick ones.
Because they were throwing them at Irish people?
No, because they looked like a potato masher.
Ah, okay.
Potato masher.
Oh, now I'm hungry.
Yeah, no, this game looked... it didn't look graphically very good, but they did my favorite thing where they show like the outline of the level and then they like fade into the 3D. Very 3D game, super 3D. We got all the 3D you need.
Yeah, this at the time I'm sure was very impressive, but What I thought was great is that it was a fun trailer.
Yep. The beginning was funny, and then we got some gameplay at the end.
And I'm sure the gameplay isn't great, but thought it was good. We had NBA Shootout 2000. I have never liked playing a basketball video game other than NBA Jam pretty much ever. But again, they said we got announcers.
And this looked like it sucked. This looked terrible.
It didn't look good.
Well, the problem is when you got 5 people on the court for one team, so you got 10 people total. They probably didn't put refs in it. So you just got 10 people on the court, and they're all very recognizable people in like pop culture if you watch the NBA. So they're like, let's make it as realistic as possible. But you can't do that on a PlayStation 1 because it's just limitations. You couldn't achieve it. So you end up getting a very clunky, very heavy, very ugly game.
Well, I just came up with a great idea for a game.
What's that?
It's called Reffing Simulator. And it's you getting like, you have your earbud in and you have multiple people saying, throw the game this way.
Yeah.
You need to make a call that makes, call it technical.
Cover the spread. Cover the spread.
All right, the game has been called very fairly, but we need the Chiefs to win.
Yeah.
Just throw a holding. Doesn't matter. Just do it. And you see like money coming in and you have to deal with all of the negative publicity. That sounds more interesting than this game.
That actually would be a lot of fun.
I wish I could really understand how all of that happens because there's a lot of negotiations and talks and money flying around behind the scenes. But NBA Shootout 2000, fucking, I don't care.
Yeah, probably could have spent more time in the oven, or maybe it spent too much and it's burnt because it looked like shit.
It's just another basketball game.
Yeah, and not a good one at that.
I did like that it had Kobe Bryant, Charles Barkley, and Karl Malone. That was nostalgic enough just seeing those names.
Yeah. Also, I did notice in the trailer it has a more impressive franchise mode than Madden. Fuck you, EA. I will die on this hill.
Yeah, just in general. A lot of these Electronic Arts made a few games we talked about today, and such as the next one, they published Hot Wheels Turbo Racing. Electronic Arts was good.
Yep.
For a long time. But
back when they had that old cool logo where it said Electronic Arts and it kind of like the Dark Souls looking font.
Once they started saying it's in the game and it wasn't any longer in the game.
EA, we took it out of the game.
It's in the DLC. It's actually on the disc. It's on the disc. Hot Wheels Turbo Racing.
This is a layup.
It looked fine. It looked good. I mean, I played the most recent Hot Wheels game that's now available for free for like PS Plus or Game Pass or whatever. It's good. This game, take your 40 Hot Wheels cars that are available, race it on tracks. You have me as a kid, you have me as an adult. I care, and I'm in.
Yeah.
It'd be hard to fuck it up.
You'd have to try.
Yeah, you have to just somehow make a game that doesn't do the bare minimum, because if this is the bare minimum, there is a corkscrew and a loop-de-loop, and it's in a bedroom. I will be the van with flames on the van, and I will do a backflip because that's how it works. And
physics are just an illusion.
It's an illusion, and I am in there for this game.
I did like that they actually used some of the very popular Hot Wheels that you could purchase. In fact, I think that purple car was called the Phantom, and I owned that, and I played with it as a child in real life. So that I would have picked that car every time.
Yeah, I thought this was a fine trailer.
Yeah, I mean, it had a nice little cinematic opening, and then you said, I want to see some gameplay. And what did it do? Transition to gameplay immediately.
So what we're going to do now is rank what is the worst and the best non-playable demo. So we're going to do the videos first.
Okay.
What did you think was the worst video?
The worst video would have to go to Rugrats Studio Tour.
Oh, no.
Everything else, it was just a badly made trailer.
At least it had Mark Mothersbaugh.
Yes. NBA Shootout, although I think it looks like the shittiest game out of all of them, the trailer did a nice job of showcasing what you were going to be able to do. And Fighting Force 2, which also would be a runner-up for shitty-ass game, at least the trailer was not trying to give me an epileptic seizure. So kudos to that.
They even called it in the magazine.
Yeah.
You gave us a disc and you're saying it's a joke about having a seizure. I'm going to watch this. I'm going to say the worst trailer goes to Fighting Force 2. Hawk Manson is back, and I don't want him.
And I don't care.
You actually made me not want to see Hawk Manson. I didn't even know who he was. It's just the game didn't look interesting, and as someone who played the original Fighting Force, for them to just reinvent it as a shooter, I didn't care either way. But
boo for you.
Yeah, at least NBA Shootout, which looks like a game I would never want to play. It's showcasing what someone who might want to play that is. So that's my least favorite. The best video for me. Now this one's tough.
There's two that are standing out for me, and I think I know which one I want.
Well, I'll let you choose one first, and I'll just choose the other.
Countdown Vampires.
Okay.
I do appreciate the humor.
And I'm going Medal of Honor.
Yes. But Countdown Vampires was just so gnarly.
Countdown Vampires is the dumbest sounding title.
I know, I love it.
And I want a poster of Countdown Vampires up on our wall.
Yeah.
And we ripped off a video game. It says there's 37 different levels. That's stupid. I need to know more, and I don't think there's a dumber name than Countdown Vampires.
No, that is impressively stupid.
Medal of Honor is very funny.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate some good humor. Now we're going to say what we thought was the worst playable demo out of all of them. And I guess I'll go first. I have to say Bugs Bunny Lost in Time. I think. Yeah, I'm going Bugs Bunny Lost in Time. It played like hot shit, and there was nothing redeeming. It was funny to watch Bugs Bunny dive into an anvil one time.
That was pretty funny.
Otherwise, it was the lowest possible level of gameplay and effort by anything, in my opinion.
Worst. I think I'm inclined to agree with you.
Fuck you, Bugs.
Yeah, that is the worst. And I say that because not only watching you play it did it look heavy and clunky and dumb, but I want to say I'm like 99% sure I owned this game and I never got past the first level.
It was that bad that even a kid, kids are dumb. I'll play anything as a kid.
Yes. Even I was like, fuck that game.
Yeah.
Best trailer. I think I'm gonna
Not best trailer, best demo.
Best demo.
Playable demo.
I might have to go Pac-Man World.
It looked good.
It played well. I felt like the controls were pretty concise, pretty tight.
Pac-Man World it showed a lot of gameplay. It somehow was a unique take on the classic Pac-Man.
There was also a second level that I skipped on accident.
I'm going to say my favorite demo would be Metal Gear Solid VR Missions. I think it has the most potential for a lot of gameplay and a lot of repeated gameplay. You can get a lot out of it, which I think is very impressive.
The fact that you can have high scores and try to best yourself is pretty awesome.
What I'm going to say overall, though, is demo discs are fun. And it is fun getting bite-sized snacks of a ton of games that will never get love, that will never be given 30-minute YouTube retrospectives. No one's going to talk about Rugrats Studio Tour, and if they do, you're not getting views. And I think it's important that game exists, and the trailer was bad. I don't care about a lot of the extra sports games, but these demo discs are hot.
Oh, yeah. You get some bangers on here, too. I see NHL FaceOff 2000 again.
There's not enough wrestling games on these. There's some, and I wanted to work one in, but it just didn't work out today.
WCW Mayhem. I'm pretty sure I owned that game. I had a lot of wrestling games.
Yeah.
These are fun. And as a kid, I also thought it was just cool to have a disc.
Yeah, it's nice because I still own them. It's physical, and those aren't resold. You don't really see demo discs available in stores, which is kind of funny to me because I care.
Ooh, yeah. What was that? April 2000, WWF SmackDown. That game slapped. That was a fun one.
Very good game. But yes, this has been Raw Dogs. Hair of the Dogcast. We exist because of people like you, so thanks for listening. If you have questions or thoughts about any of these video game demos, if you know about Countdown Vampires, if you've played Countdown Vampires, we want to hear from you. Please.
Yes.
If you wanted to reach out, we're on Instagram at Hair of the Dogcast or Twitter at Hot Dogcast, and you can email us at hairofthedogcast@gmail.com. if you want access to a bunch of bonus content, as well as exclusive podcast, bonus episodes way early, check out patreon.com/HairTheDogcast. Executive producers Ryan Christianek, Kip, Brian Ward, and Jordan. We appreciate all of you, and we're part of the Tokyo Beat Podcast Network. And that's all we have for today. We might try... Next week is the Dogcast. The Dogcast is happening next week.
Yeah.
We're doing what makes a good open world game.
Yeah. Probably get into maybe a little bit of the history and then talk about what we like in them and some of our favorite open world games, along with the news.
I'm very excited to catch up on that, talk about the recent Nintendo showcase. But drive safe. Take care of yourself.
It's dangerous out there.